Good afternoon, everybody. Shall we start? We're on page 707, and I will start to read at line 1303. A greater truth than earth's shall roof in earth. We are reading this long passage which follows the climax of the poem, when the Supreme Lord grants Savitri's persistent prayer for earth and men. And he tells her, all you have asked shall be fulfilled by my trustee, eternal time. And then he gives this long prophecy of the stages of the realization. So we have reached the point where he's speaking about the coming of the supramental race and what that will mean. So I'm reading on from there. A greater truth than earth's shall roof in earth and shed its sunlight on the roads of mind. A power infallible shall lead the thought. A seeing puissance govern life and act. In earthly hearts kindle the immortal's fire. A soul shall wake in the Inconscient's house. The mind shall be God vision's tabernacle. The body intuition's instrument. And life a channel for God's visible power. All earth shall be the Spirit's manifest home, hidden no more by the body and the life, hidden no more by the mind's ignorance. An unerring hand shall shape event and act. The Spirit's eyes shall look through nature's eyes. The Spirit's force shall occupy nature's force. This world shall be God's visible garden house. The earth shall be a field and camp of God. Man shall forget consent to mortality and his embodied frail impermanence. This universe shall unseal its occult sense. Creation's process change its antique front. An ignorant evolution's hierarchy release the wisdom chained below its base. The Spirit shall be the master of his world, lurking no more in form's obscurity, and nature shall reverse her actions' rule. The outward world disclose the truth it veils. All things shall manifest the covered God. All shall reveal the Spirit's light and might, and move to its destiny of felicity. Even should a hostile force cling to its reign and claim its rights' perpetual sovereignty, and man refuse his high spiritual fate, yet shall the secret truth in things prevail. For in the march of all-fulfilling time, the hour must come of the transcendent's will. All turns and winds towards his predestined ends in nature's fixed, inevitable course, decreed since the beginning of the worlds in the deep essence of created things. Even there shall come as a high crown of all the end of death, the death of ignorance. But first, high truth must set her feet on earth, and man aspire to the eternal's light, and all his members feel the Spirit's touch, and all his life obey an inner force. This too shall be, for a new life shall come, a body of the superconscious truth, a native field of supernature's might. It shall make earth's nescient ground truth's colony, make even the ignorance a transparent robe through which shall shine the brilliant limbs of truth. And truth shall be a sun on nature's head, and truth shall be the guide of nature's steps, and truth shall gaze out of her nether deeps. Which way are we going, Suresh? You will start.
And greater truth than earth shall root in her, and shed its sunlight on the rose of mind. A power infallible shall lead their thought, as saying, Lucian's grown, I can act, then earthly thoughts kindly
Kindle.
the immortal's fire.
To kindle, it means to light a fire. So this is the promise. We have a certain kind of truth at the moment and reality, no? But he says a greater truth than the truth of earth shall roof in earth. It will be over us like a protective roof, and it will shed its sunlight on the roads of mind, of our human mind, so that infallible power of the higher truth will lead the thoughts of our minds. Infallible, you know this word, Suresh? Infallible means that something cannot fail. It can't make a mistake. So this will be a power that is infallible, that can't fail, that can't be prevented from fulfilling itself. That infallible power will lead the thought, the mind. and a seeing puissance shall govern life and act. We've had this word puissance several times. It's a French word which Sri Aurobindo uses in several places in the poem. It's a word meaning power. A power that can see, which is conscious, which has a power of vision. It can see clearly. A seeing puissance will govern the ordinary life and action of earth beings. And it will kindle, it will light up the immortal's fire in earthly hearts. The fire of Agni, the fire of aspiration and will, seeing will for the higher truths. Babel.
The soul shall wake in the inconscience house, the mind shall be for vision's tabernacle, the body intuition's instrument, and life the channel of God's visible power.
Yes. In the inconscience house, perhaps we can think that the inconscience house is matter. It's where the inconscient dwells. But a soul will wake up even in matter, in the inconscient. And because the soul wakes up in matter, it will wake up in us as well, all of us who have material bodies, physical bodies. The mind shall be God vision's tabernacle. A tabernacle is a container for something sacred. The mind will be the sacred home, dwelling place of God vision, the power to see the divine in everything and to see everything as the divine sees it. And the body will become the instrument of intuition, the power of direct knowledge, intuitive, direct knowledge, not only of the outer aspects of things, but of their inner truth. And life, the life force in all of us, will become a channel for God's visible power. We will be able to see the Lord working through our life energies. Dr. Mishra, would you read? Would you read a sentence? Line 1311, all earth shall be...
All earth shall be spirit's manifest home, hidden no more by the body and life, hidden no more by the mind's ignorance. An honoring hand shall save the wind and act.
Thank you. So all earth, the whole material universe, will be the home of the Spirit manifest, obvious. Already, of course, the whole material world is the home of the Spirit, but it's the home of the Spirit veiled, disguised. It will become the home of the Spirit manifest, revealed, no longer hidden by the body and the life, no longer hidden by the mind's ignorance. And an unerring hand shall shape event and act. Unerring is like infallible. It means not making any mistake. To err means to wander, to be lost. A hand that is unerring, which does its work perfectly without the slightest slip or mistake. An unerring hand will be shaping everything that happens every event and everything that is done.
Is divine then?
Of course, it's the divine hand. Yes.
Is big H.
Who else has that divine, that unerring hand?
Yeah. It is capital H.
Yes, capital H. Mila.
The Spirit's eyes shall look through nature's eyes. The Spirit's force shall occupy nature's force. These walls shall be God's visible garden house. The earth shall be a free and camp of God. Man shall forget consent to mortality and his embodied frail impermanence.
Yes. When we look out through our eyes, the eyes of our nature, at the moment it is our imperfect consciousness that's looking out and seeing and understanding in a certain way. But when this realization comes, when a greater truth than earth's shall roof in earth, then the Spirit's eyes shall look through nature's eyes. The divine consciousness will be looking out through our eyes. And the force, the power and energy of the Spirit will be occupying the nature force. Nature gets a lot done by her forces, no? But it seems to be in a kind of unconscious way. But if that force is being guided by the Spirit's omniscient, all-knowing and all-powerful force, then nature force will become much, much more effective. This world will become God's visible garden house, his pleasure house, where he comes to enjoy himself. And the earth, the whole earth, shall be a field and a camp of God, a place where he acts, does his work, and where he stays. Then human beings shall forget their consent to mortality. At the moment we agree to be mortal, we are in the grip of ignorance and death, and we accept that. But when this greater truth manifests, we won't accept that anymore. We will insist on becoming immortal and conquering death. No? We will forget our embodied, frail impermanence. Something that's impermanent doesn't last long. Something that's frail is very weak, easily broken, or in poor health. No? So at the moment, that's how we are in our bodies. We are an embodied, frail, weak impermanence with no prospect of a permanent existence. But we'll forget all about that.
This world shall be God's visible garden house. There shall be a field and camp of God. But at present also is the field of God.
Yes, but at the moment it's not visible. Here he says visible garden house. Yeah.
So that is more revelations will be there like that.
Instead of being veiled and hidden by the body and the life and the forms, we shall see the divine presence and we shall see the divine acting, shaping every event, feel him acting through our actions. Yeah. This would be such a great change, no? If we could be at every moment conscious of the divine presence, not only protecting us, but guiding us, showing us what is to be done. Would you read, please?
This universe shall unseen its upper sense, creation's process change its antique form. Ignorant, evolution, hierarchy, release the wisdom, chain below its place.
Yes. So it's not only man, it's not only human beings who are going to change. The whole universe is going to change. And it will unseal its occult or hidden meaning and significance and intention. When something's sealed up, it's closed up. If you want to send a letter and it's not just a greetings card, you don't want anybody to read it, you seal the envelope. Or if it's something top secret, it will have an even bigger seal on it that nobody can open without it being obvious that it's been opened. So at the moment, the secret meaning and significance of this universal existence is sealed up. Sri Aurobindo is telling us a lot of it about it, no? But still it is hidden, even to us who are studying, and to most people they don't even dream that it has a hidden sense. And the whole process of creation, he says, will change its antique front. Something that's antique is very old. So that old appearance that creation has had, perhaps since the Big Bang, will change this whole process of creation. At the moment, there's a hierarchy in evolution. There's the most primal and simple forms of matter, subatomic particles, forces, things like that. And then there's what we recognize as matter, as material things. And then there's living matter. And then there's even mentalized living matter. That's a kind of hierarchy in the ignorance. But here he says that hierarchy, that progression will release, it will set free, liberate the wisdom. And again, it's got a capital letter, the secret divine wisdom, which at present is chained below its base, below the very base of that hierarchy in the evolution that we can look back and see happening since the beginning of this universe, has below it, tied up, chained, unable to express itself freely, a divine wisdom, which is just emerging slowly in the course of evolution. When this big change comes about, that wisdom will be released, set free. Alice, you would read?
The Spirit shall be the master. The Spirit shall be the master of his world, lurking nowhere in form's obscurity, and nature shall reverse her actions rule. The outward world disclose the truth it veils. All things this shall manifest the covert God. All shall reveal the Spirit's light and might, and move to its destiny of felicity.
Yes. At the moment, nature rules the world. Spirit stands back, supports her, allows her to do her work. But when this big change comes about, the Spirit shall be the master of this world. He will show his rule, and he will not be lurking. He won't be hiding himself any longer in the obscurity of form. Now he hides himself in all these forms and appearances, and that's why we don't recognize his appearance now. He won't be hiding anymore. And so nature's rule will be reversed. At the moment, it is nature that rules, and the Spirit is behind, supporting. But when this big change comes about, the outward world will reveal the truth that at the moment it is veiling. No? And all things shall manifest the covert God, the God who is hidden at the moment. Everything shall reveal the light and the power of the Spirit, and everything will be moving towards its destiny of felicity, of bliss, of ananda. Sarojini?
Even so, a hostile force calling to its reign and claim its rights, perpetual sovereignty, and man refuse his high spiritual fate. Exalt the secret truth in things
Prevail means succeed. Throughout the poem, in several places, Sri Aurobindo has been telling us that it is the role of humanity to bring about this big change. No? But it's very difficult for human beings as we are in the grip of ignorance and death, because we are being obstructed all the time by adverse forces that are still clinging to keeping things dominated by unconsciousness and the kind of the ignorance, but also the falsehood that it becomes about as a result of the unconsciousness. So he says, even if a hostile force clings to its reign, holds on to its rule, and it claims to rule forever, perpetually, forever, it claims to keep its sovereignty. And if, as a result of the clinging on of that hostile force, human beings should refuse their high spiritual fate, still, nevertheless, the secret truth which is in all things will prevail. It will be stronger than that hostile force. It will be fulfilled.
How this sentence becomes, even should a force
This should, even if a hostile force should cling. Yes? So he has compressed it, no? Even should a hostile force. So this should here is like if, even if a hostile force clings to its reign. And now he's going to tell why the secret truth in things is sure to prevail. Sri Aurobindo says all this is fixed and ordained and inevitable. He is absolutely sure about it. No? Why? Ella, you like to read?
One march of the filling time, the hour must come of the transcendent's will. All turns and ripeness toward his destiny and nature fixed in the impeachable curse. The creeds and rules of the earth in deep sense of creative force. Even the sharp come when the high ground fall. The end of that, the end of ignorance.
Yes, thank you. In the march of all fulfilling time, as time unrolls, as it moves forward, finally the hour must come when the will of the transcendent is fulfilled. The transcendent, the supreme divine, unlimited by the manifestation. He's already decided how it is to end, or how it is to be fulfilled. Everything in the manifestation is turning and winding and going round and round, but it's always moving towards its end, the predestined end, the end that has been fixed from the beginning. It's following nature's fixed, inevitable course. Sri Aurobindo says it's a spiral. It goes higher and higher, but sometimes, of course, that spiral dips down lower, but then it goes higher again. It's a spiral. Nature's fixed, inevitable course, which has been decreed. It's been planned and commanded since the beginning of the worlds. And that decree is fixed in the deep essence of created things. It's as if it's coded in to our very being, our DNA, our even more fundamentally than that. It's in the deep essence of created things. And because it is decreed, even in the end there shall come as the high crown of all, the greatest result, at the end of death, the death of ignorance. Now we can't imagine a world without death and a world without ignorance. But even this is decreed. But it's not going to happen just like that. There are certain conditions which have to be fulfilled. Kamala, will you read?
But first high truth must set her feet on earth, and man aspire to the eternal light, and all his members feel the Spirit's touch, and all his life obey an inner force.
Yes. The first high truth must set her feet on earth. So that's why Auroville has been established as the city at the service of truth. And we have these beautiful paintings of hutas showing truth and love. The love, the rule of the divine's love upon earth cannot come about until truth has set her foot on earth. So we are aspiring for the victory of the truth. And human beings have a part to play in that. We have to aspire to aim for the eternal's light. And a change must come about in our bodies so that all our members, every part of us, feel the touch of the Spirit, and all His life, all the life of human beings obeys an inner force, the force of the soul. Corinne, you'll read.
This too shall be, for a new life shall come, the body of the superconscious truth, a native field of supernature's mind. It shall make earth, nation ground through scholar, make even the ignorance a transparent robe, through which shall shine the brilliant beams of truth. And truth shall be a sun on nature's head, and truth shall be the guide of nature's steps, and truth shall gaze out of her nether deeps.
Yes, thank you. So he promises that this moment when high truth sets her feet on earth, it will come. This too shall be, because a new kind of life shall come on earth, a divine life. And that life will be a body, a form that can hold and express the truth of the superconscient. Consciousness so far above us, we can't even imagine it. And this new life will be a native field of supernature's mights. Not this earth nature that we know now, but the truth conscious nature of the supramental. That life, that divine life, will have to come about on earth. And that will make this ground of earth, this base, which is nescient, which does not have knowledge, it shall turn it into a colony of truth. So that truth will colonize the earth and transform it completely. So that even the ignorance will become like a transparent robe. If something is transparent, we can see the body inside. A transparent robe through which shall shine the brilliant limbs of truth. The beautiful shining body of truth will shine through even this robe of ignorance. And truth will be a sun, a powerful shining light of energy and force on the head of nature, on the highest levels of nature. And truth shall be the guide of nature's steps, showing her which way to go. And truth will even gaze out of the nether deeps of nature. Nether means lower. So the lowest, darkest, most obscure depths and abysses of nature, truth will gaze out of there, look out, and we shall see her looking out at us from there. Yes, Corinne.
I understand that this divine project is predestined, but can we hurry the process? Or even are we responsible for its stagnation?
Well, as I say, there are several places in the poem where Sri Aurobindo tells us, look, you people, you are the chosen ones, you have to make this happen. On the other hand, somebody asked the mother, how much does it depend on human beings? And mother said, fortunately not at all. So we could say that humanity, as mental beings, as halfway conscious beings, we have the opportunity to participate in this process consciously if we choose to do it. We can help to bring this about, and we're being offered that opportunity. But many things have to happen, and evolution has to help us. No? As we are at our present stage of evolution, all we can do is to aspire for this state. But we can also, I was just reading this afternoon, Sri Aurobindo says that through the discipline of yoga, we can open ourselves up to the descent of this higher consciousness. So that's what's offered to us. Does it answer your question? Yeah. Vibha, would you read? Vidya.
When Superman is born as nature's king, his presence shall transfigure matter's world. He shall light up truth's fire in nature's night. He shall lay upon the earth truth's greater law. Man too shall turn towards the Spirit's call.
Yes, then he will go on about man. Yes. So when Superman is born as nature's king, we think that this word refers not to the kind of Superman in the comic, not the Superman that the German philosopher Nietzsche has written about, but Sri Aurobindo and Mother seem to use this word for the transitional species between our present state of humanity and this supramental state. So when he is born, at the moment human beings are nature's kings. We are not a very good king, but we are the leading species. But when that next new species is born as nature's king, just the presence will transfigure the world of matter. And he will light up the fire of truth in the night, in the darkness of nature. And he will impose upon the earth truth's greater law. And human beings too will turn towards the call of the Spirit. Jerry, would you read?
Awake to this hidden possibility. Awake to all that slept within his heart. At all that nature meant when earth was formed. And the Spirit made this ignorant world his home. He shall aspire to truth and God and this.
Thank you. So this is man. Man will wake up to his hidden possibility. That's what Sri Aurobindo wants us to do. He wants us to wake up to our hidden possibilities. Wake up to everything that's sleeping within our hearts. And to wake up to what is the meaning, the intention of nature from the time when earth was first formed, the time when Spirit moved to inhabit this ignorant world. So then, naturally, human beings will start to aspire to truth and God and bliss. Ganga Lakshmi.
At the was a divine look
an instrument of the supreme design, the higher kind shall mean to lift up man. Man shall desire to cling to his own height.
To climb.
Sorry.
Yes, read the next two lines.
Yeah. The true above shall awake another truth. Even the dumb earth becomes sentient.
Yes. So it is the higher kind, the Superman, the new race, will act as an interpreter of a divine law. Sometimes when new rules and regulations are made, recently we went through this whole policy, business of getting a new entry policy for Auroville. And it needs interpreting, it needs explaining and being made clear to people. So for that we need an interpreter, somebody who understands that other language, or the intention of that higher law. So it will be the Superman who will be the interpreter of that diviner law to human beings. And that Superman will be the instrument of a supreme design. That supreme design that the Lord has made, it needs to be implemented, it needs to be carried out. So the higher kind, the new race, will do that work by interpreting the divine law and working out the supreme design and leaning down to lift up man. We will have help, no? And then, naturally, man will begin to desire to climb to his own heights, to those higher possibilities. Also, that truth which is above will wake up the truth which is involved in nature. It's as if hidden within us is this truth. That's why we are longing for a diviner life, actually. So that pressure of that truth from above will wake up this lower truth, so that even the dumb earth, this nescient, inconscient matter, will become a sentient force, a power of action and energy which has senses, which can feel, which can be aware. I think we'll stop there for today. Yes, Jerry, what is your question?
Well, I'm getting two beautiful things. One is the man as the interpreter of the divine law. But from the other senses I get something else too. And that something else is he is representing instead of interpreting the divine law.
Well, both.
Yes, that's what I'm telling. So I get that the man is both. He is representing it and interpreting it.
Yes. That's our high role. Yeah. And there's, since we've got a few minutes, I'll read you just a little passage that I'm always carrying with me. This is in Book 4, Canto 3. And Asvapati, Savitri's father, he's meditating early one morning. and he hears a subtle voice reminding him, as a representative of humanity, the voice says, "O force-compelled, fate-driven, earth-born race, O petty adventurers in an infinite world, and prisoners of a dwarf humanity, how long will you tread the circling tracks of mind around your little self and petty things? But not for a changeless littleness were you meant, not for vain repetition were you built. Out of the immortal substance you were made. Your actions can be swift, revealing steps. Your life a changeful mold for growing gods. A greater destiny waits you in your front. This transient earthly being, if he wills, can fit his acts to a transcendent scheme. Yet shall the Godhead grow within your hearts. You shall awake into the Spirit's air and feel the breaking walls of mortal mind, and hear the message which left life's heart dumb, and look through nature with sun-gazing lids, and blow your conch shells at the Eternal's gate. Authors of earth's high change. That's us. That's what he calls us. Authors of earth's high change. To you it is given to cross the dangerous spaces of the soul and touch the mighty mother, stark awake, and meet the omnipotent in this house of flesh, and make of life the million-bodied one. It goes on quite a lot longer, but it's one of my favorite passages. It says, it's up to you. The earth is waiting for you to do all this, he says. So we'll stop there. Those who wish to stay and read, we can read these lines from Book 11.
A greater truth than earth's shall roof in earth, and shed its sunlight on the roads of mind. A power infallible shall lead the thought, a seeing puissance govern life and act. In earthly hearts kindle the immortal's fire. A soul shall wake in the Inconscient's house. The mind shall be God vision's tabernacle, the body intuition's instrument, and life a channel for God's visible power. All earth shall be the Spirit's manifest home, hidden no more by the body and the life, hidden no more by the mind's ignorance. An unerring hand shall shape event and act. The Spirit's eyes shall look through nature's eyes. The Spirit's force shall occupy nature's force. This world shall be God's visible garden house. The earth shall be a field and camp of God. Man shall forget consent to mortality and his embodied frail impermanence. This universe shall unseal its occult sense. Creation's process change its antique front. An ignorant evolution's hierarchy release the wisdom chained below its base. The Spirit shall be the master of his world, lurking no more in form's obscurity. And nature shall reverse her action's rule, the outward world disclose the truth it veils. All things shall manifest the covered God. All shall reveal the Spirit's light and might, and move to its destiny of felicity. Even should a hostile force cling to its reign and claim its right's perpetual sovereignty, and man refuse his high spiritual fate, yet shall the secret truth in things prevail. For in the march of all-fulfilling time, the hour must come of the Transcendent's will. All turns and winds towards his predestined ends in nature's fixed inevitable course, decreed since the beginning of the worlds in the deep essence of created things. Even there shall come as a high crown of all the end of death, the death of ignorance. But first high truth must set her feet on earth, and man aspire to the Eternal's light, and all his members feel the Spirit's touch, and all his life obey an inner force. This too shall be, for a new life shall come, a body of the superconscious truth, a native field of supernature's mights. It shall make earth's nescient ground truth's colony. Make even the ignorance a transparent robe through which shall shine the brilliant limbs of truth, and truth shall be a sun on nature's head, and truth shall be the guide of nature's steps, and truth shall gaze out of her nether deeps. When Superman is born as nature's king, his presence shall transfigure matter's world. He shall light up truth's fire in nature's night. He shall lay upon the earth truth's greater law. Man too shall turn towards the Spirit's call. Awake to his hidden possibility. Awake to all that slept within his heart, and all that nature meant when earth was formed, and the Spirit made this ignorant world his home. He shall aspire to truth and God and bliss. Interpreter of a diviner law, and instrument of a supreme design, the higher kind shall lean to lift up man. Man shall desire to climb to his own heights. The truth above shall wake a nether truth. Even the dumb earth become a sentient force.